It's Glen Cove, May 9th, 1992. And we're here for Uncle Dan's 60th birthday party. Beautiful day. Sun is out. Trees and flowers in bloom. Cars lining the street. The linden tree is about to bloom.
Daddy, when do you suppose Brian's going to be here?
What's that, Alex?
When do you suppose Brian's going to be here?
When do I dispose Brian will be here?
Yeah.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
I think he'll be here any minute. Is that loaded?
Yep.
Uh-oh. It's going to be a dangerous birthday party. Do you have two?
One.
One? It's going to be even more dangerous.
Don't be scared, come on, you have to run. All these cars and all these people have to be here. Hi.
Wait till you see the faces.
Getting around. Joni Hammer. Good, isn't that great? Let's see what I did. Joni, hi.
I was thinking about you. You guys mean it too much.
Thank you, thank you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Great to see you. Well, that's just our last wedding together. Good. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Gosh, great seeing you. Your knee? Is it working as good as the old one? Yeah. How's Miss America? Here we are again. Here we go again. It's a big weekend thing. Good. Oh, nice to see you. Good, my pleasure. Oh, okay.
Daddy, you missed the most important guest.
Great,
Did you
huh?
see him?
Who's that? Who did this?
From Massachusetts.
Of course I did. I said I did say. All the way from Massachusetts? Of course, when you are on the road, always great, you know that. Sorry. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. What? Just couldn't figure out who it was. My own service, I was going to see a face who I didn't know. I just I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Dan,
walk in
you're
front
being
of
called.
Alex!
Uncle Danny, we can go.
So beautiful. So sociable.
Woo! You're not supposed to tickle the camera, man.
Want to see the water? Want to see the water?
She was having a ball.
I'm not even missed it. Oh, I don't even remember. I can't remember the truth. No, about 18 years. Yeah, no, a real long time.
Yeah, I told you this wasn't with a
You
person.
knew him a long time?
No, we're talking about
Their meeting
Dan
wasn't
Wiener.
real personal.
Dan.
Dan Wiener.
I'm sorry, I stopped for a second. And I thought, I lost the whole generation.
She's getting so confused.
I lost a generation by talking to Gloria.
Vera, is this better than having
Many
fun?
people did not remember whose birthday party this
No,
was.
it's not almost. I know, so what do you think? How do you want to do it?
You know, there are some people you meet, you connect with, you click with, and you just are always, you can make friends. You, just like this woman, Nolan, I mean, she was looking for a person who had a different voice than yours, so she was looking for you, basically.
Oh, I know that.
There's no
Tell
friends.
me what you want.
So,
Well, I don't know either. Tell me
I
what
have
you
friends
want.
that I've had for a really long time.
She's 30, stop. I told you. Then
That's the car.
you know. Beater to beater. Another one of the series, this beautiful photo.
Yes. Hi, Haley. Hi, sweetie pie. Where's mommy? Hi. My job on Uncle Dan's birthday is to be a total pain in the ass.
You know what? The thing about cameras and to look like Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah, right.
The important thing
Can I
to
have some
remember about
popcorn,
cameras
please?
is that they don't record reality. They distort reality.
Right.
This thing.
That's right.
See what I mean?
That's right. Yes.
See what I mean? I
Yes.
just proved it.
No, we all know you have those blemishes. We've just never seen them close
Now I
up.
know why they have those gates up for
You
kids.
see where you see
You're
where
too
Nick-
busy
see
taking
where
pictures
Nick-
of everybody. Your daughter was going down the stairs.
fall?
No.
You want to walk up this way to Daddy?
Yeah, I think you should.
Or to Mommy? Look at Daddy. Going. We.
Can you believe this is the same girl who was screaming 20 minutes ago?
She's doing great. She's having a great time. She's having a great time. She's got a real sweat.
David's mommy. Okay, David wants to tell you.
I actually have a toast. I'd like to make a toast in a couple of minutes, but first I have a little kind of a gift presentation because there are a couple of gifts that we got. We kind of arranged for my dad. If you want to pass, you can pass around and share. Actually, Mike, why don't you explain one and I'll explain the other, since Michael's mainly responsible for this one.
This is.
And you can give all the details right up until the May 9th details.
This is. Let's see, where do we begin? This is clearly a collaborative effort. This is a 1/3 Rachel, 1/3 David, and 1/3 me project that we all have been working on over the last 2 months or so, 2 or 3 months.
2 days.
All the way up until early this morning.
It's not done yet.
It is.
Because David's not done yet.
Well, we should explain. You explain this and why it's not done.
Daniel? Danny, excuse me, Michael from Toronto is on the telephone.
Recognize it.
Our principal dances. And if you keep talking about Michael's talking, you're going on principal's office.
We've been working on this for the last 2 months or so. David, Rachel, and I putting this together. This will probably mean a little bit more to Wiener family members than it will to the rest of you. But it may mean something to all of you. We had hoped to come here today with 30 or 40 copies, however many people there are that are going to be here today, so that everybody who wanted one of these could have one and take it with them and look through it at their leisure. We worked, David and I didn't do much work on my job yesterday. We spent most of the day in my office yesterday working on this, trying to get the final version put together to put it in order. We worked all the way up until 4:30 this morning, putting it together. At 4:15, we were in the Xerox room at my office, and the Xerox machines let us down. We were not able to make the copies that we wanted to of it, but we were able to come up with at least the one version of it, which is the version that we want to give to my dad. And we think that we don't want to tell him what it is until he has a chance to look at it.
And then he can pass it around.
He'll pass it around, and the rest of you can take it.
Everybody can get a copy if you like.
Yeah, we're taking.
We're going to make copies. First edition. We brought supplies. We were all ready to do it. And I'm serious. At 4:30 in the morning, Xerox let us down. Major breakdown.
It's a classic David project. Finished 1:30 in the morning.
Michael didn't do it. I took yesterday off from work. Michael didn't. I don't understand.
I took yesterday off from work too. I just didn't.
I wish I would work everybody did.
You gotta explain what it is now.
No, you gotta read this.
So you recognize the picture?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you better.
So I put my glasses on.
Does that mean I have to turn the camera off?
It's not reason. I have this since childhood. I've had these.
You're entitled.
Thank you.
Comes with the territory.
Says food for thought, a literary cookbook, B. Max Rayner.
These are my grandparents, my dad's parents, B. and Max Wiener. Pop was a closet poet, and well, I guess that's a good way to put it because a lot of us didn't know that he was a poet until very late in his life. A lot of us knew that my grandmother Granby, as we called her, was a fabulous cook, and we have gathered together collections of Pop's poems, which he gave to all of us, and my grandmother's recipes, and put them together in one book and laid them out in a as well as, Pop in his later years put together an autobiographical tape. And this contains some excerpts from that tape as well. It's all kind of interspersed in there. It's kind of a little bit of a family history. Yeah, Dave, why don't you read the dedication?
Yeah, what? You ready to read it? Yeah, read it.
It's the dedication. On the occasion of his 60th birthday, this book is dedicated with love to our father, Dan Wiener, without whom it would not have been possible. For it has been our father more than anyone else who has taught us how the deeds and words of family members who preceded us can be a source of inspiration, pride, and wisdom. This book is also dedicated to the memory of our uncle Seymour Wiener, who knew and appreciated its contents better than anyone. David, Michael, and Rachel, May 7, 1987.
Copies are coming.
There are a lot of good recipes.
Yeah.
A lot of good recipes.
And a lot of good poems.
We're going to see the picture of them on the cover.
Yeah, that's right.
Just be very.
Rachel, hold it up for me.
Hold it up. I mean, those of us who really done that.
That's a great one.
Okay, thank you.
There's a warning next to it.
Where is it? I can't find it.
We just passed Travis Honey Buns. Look at sesame cookies. Love me, love my dog.
French custard pie.
If anybody else looks at this, don't look at the poem that's
I don't know where you
titled
put
A Career Woman.
I've read that one.
Real, my
You know,
dad
we
came
didn't
from
want
a
to, we didn't want
generation.
to censor him.
Oh, God,
We didn't
no.
want to censor him, but
Here it is, maybe.
if you had to drop something, that might have been the
Yes,
one
I
to
typed
go.
them in.
This is a poem that my dad, I started writing poetry when he was about 83 or 84 or something like that. He discovered it. So he wrote this poem about my mother, which is included here, which is kind of neat. It's kind of interesting. If you knew either of them or both of them, surely he said, the poem is entitled B. I guess it was written when he was about 85 years old. It said, B never dies, she's just not here. There's no reason to shed a tear. People keep going far and wide. It doesn't mean that they've died. You may never see them again. But when you remember them often when you think of the happy times you shared, and the days you really cared. There is no dread to live in dread. I think of loved one really dead. Go on believing she's just not here. For she left behind her all that's dear. She took nothing with her. It's all as before. Beautiful memories are left to adore. No matter how far she's gone away, my mind can summon her any day. That smiling face, that word of cheer, the sound of her voice all at once appears. She always promised to be near, and B never broke a promise. Don't tell me she died. Don't tell me she lied. She's just not here. Interesting guy. Very difficult.
Especially for his sons.
Yeah.
Well, not for his grandchildren. We had this. I guess other things will be a little more forward-looking in this presentation, but one more historical thing here to kind of deal with. This is something that I guess I tracked down the last couple of weeks and kind of arranged. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. You got to open it up and you can explain what it is. And then you can I'm going to I'll explain it after.
Save the paper. I'm worried I won't know what it is when he opens it.
Very high pressure.
What is it?
It seemed like a strange gift in some
Like I said, when I first came in there as a freshman, I see somebody I didn't know. Seth was there, I didn't know Seth, and I said, was there. Where's he come from? Was he in racial rescue? He said, this is Seth, you never met him.
Let the record reflect Seth.
What?
These X-rays?
And put Seth on too.
This is my GI series. Sorry, I'm still healthy at 60.
What's in these glasses again?
What's it say?
What is it?
14th Census of the United States, 1920, population.
Let's see if you recognize any names there.
The Gonzo,
I got to read census, that was pretty
You
good.
might not recognize any names on it. It's the 14th. It's a copy of the 14th Census of the United States. Well, one page from the 14th Census from 1920, which was just open to the public about 3 months ago. And if you look down here,
Rachel Hoffman.
What is it? I still don't know what it is.
Is it the 14th?
Oh, when they,
What does it say here?
came from Ellis Island?
Occupation.
Hardware store.
Clerk.
Mike, what is that?
Native
The
native
Ellis
tongue, mother
Island?
tongue.
It's a photocopy of
No,
the
mother tongue.
1920 census.
She was Jewish? I never knew that. She's Jewish? That's what she spoke. Didn't say she was Jewish, she said that's what she spoke. Oh my God, it's gonna sound like a career back. I don't know what's gonna happen here. Now he's up here for all these years. But anyway, these are what this is the census, the 1920 census. The census is analyzed every year, right after it's taken, within a year. But the forms themselves are withheld from the public. The actual names and dates for 72 years, because that was considered in the 1950s when the Congress decided this to be the average life expectancy of a person. So for privacy reasons, they keep the census forms closed. But the 1920 census opened up 72 years later, 2 months ago. And you can go to the National Archives and you can go to other places and track it down. It takes a little time to track it.
You can all do it. If you have any problems, ask David.
I'm afraid to say I'm now an expert on it. And they have photocopying machines. You can actually photocopy the microfilm if you find the right page. So I found my grandfather and my grandmother because I was able to. I found their. It's just, you'll see if we pass it around, that there's just a name and the data going across the page, and they just go down the block of each block, and the census taker filled in the forms, and this is in their handwriting, their handwritten form.
Now I understand. It says here, native language. My mother's native language is Jewish, and my father's native language is Yiddish. Now I know why they had so many problems.
Despite that,
I understand. Now they had a problem. Now I understand. And I was trying to learn English. I didn't understand that. I have to tell you an interesting story just relating here because it's really kind of very current. I was in Moscow about 3 weeks ago, and I gave my passport into the desk of the hotel, and they do a check on it. You're supposed to pick it up the next day. So I went back the next day, and I said to the very nice clerk there, a very bright woman, and I said to her, "I'd like my passport." She says, "What's your name?" I said, "My name is Wiener." So, as you know, I'm a wiener, and they're a whiner. You know, we've been through this for years, and W-E-I-N should be pronounced whiner. And everybody says, "Oh, you're from Vienna?" I said, "No, I don't think so." And we've gone through this thing. So I said to the lady, "Can I have my passport?" She came back and said, "I'm sorry, we don't have your passport." Being in Russia without your passport, terrific. So I said, you have to. Okay. So she said, "I'll have to go back and look at it again." She went back, she came back in, and she said to me, "Oh," she says, "it was under V." She said, "Your name is Wiener." So I said, "No, my name is not Wiener, it's Wiener." So she said to me, "Oh, so we had this discussion, and then she wrote it out to me in Cyrillic, which is like Arabic. It doesn't look like anything we know. And she wrote out this name for me, and she wrote it out, it looks like B-U-M-E-P or something like that. She says that's Russian, and that's pronounced Wiener. So what happens is that when they came over to this country, I'm sure at Ellis Island somebody said to them, "Oh, Wiener, you're Wiener." And that's how we, even though we're spelled that way, how we got that way. Then to end it up, she said to me, she always says, I don't know if this is condescending, and she says, "That's a Baltic name." So my father was a Litvak from Lithuania, so now I know it's the real thing. So we just found that out. It's kind of crazy. Kind of interesting. So I know our Russian roots are for real.
That's great. Pass this around. Hey, David. David, pass it.
Before, to make a test, I write it down. This time, I didn't think I wanted to. I thought about Danny, and I thought about a book I read recently called Angle of Repose. Angle of Repose, that's just the title, and it's an engineering term. It means when a rock falls down from a mountain, it doesn't necessarily go to the bottom. It finds a little niche that is comfortable, and the comfort zone, and it stays there. That does not describe Danny. Since I've known Danny always did something that was unique, and time caught up with him. Danny moved into North Shore Towers, and he was the only resident. And the only resident that they finally rented to was exactly in the apartment above him. Danny advertised as a plastic surgeon when nobody did. Danny had an outpatient before anybody did. That was Danny. Danny was always breaking ground. I think he'll break ground till the moment he really breaks ground. And I thought about how does this happen? And I have a brother who's 13 years younger than I am, and Seymour once said, Eli had a mother and a half, and Danny had a father and a half. Now, if you knew Matt, and if you knew Seymour, if you had a father and a half like those two, you had to break ground. call your soul your own. And Danny had the talent, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much.
Family has been fortunate in having a tradition of unusual uncles. Dan has an uncle, Jack Itzkowitz, who goes back to the days in Poland. Who I remember as Jack the Furrier. My sister and I were the only ones on the block whose Barbie dolls had furs. And Jack and Dan recently had occasion to go back to Poland and kind of rediscover roots. We also had Uncle Herbie in our family, who I remember mainly through stories from Dan and from my dad, which they told with a certain amount of reverence and irreverence. And I'll never forget my father telling me, which is uncharacteristic, the only time he ever went out and got drunk and didn't remember what happened the next day was a night out with Uncle Herbie. And I know Dan has similar tales. And for us, Dan has kind of been that sort of uncle. I remember as a child, Dan was sort of that romantic figure who lived in Alaska and was a doctor and flew airplanes and ran around with the Huskies. And I remember it being a little bit older, and Dan had the Green Triumph, which was the car to die for at the time, and being a little older still, and Dan having the great apartment in the city with the view to die for. And my children now see Dan as kind of that storybook uncle who, for Alex, he swoops down from the sky in the airplane, they go up for a ride, and they go off to the farm in Vermont or off to the circus. And I guess I've been fortunate in having both kind of the storybook uncle in my youth and also kind of the friend in my adulthood. So I think I say on behalf of Dan's family and certainly his nephews-in-laws and nieces and granduncle nieces,
Right.
with love and l'chaim.
This is be really brief. I'm the first, but certainly not the last of the married Wiener children. And as probably the one who's closest to thinking about having kids of my own and plotting about that. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's a real secret.
Susan, anybody tell you anything about this?
No rush.
We're doing our best, honestly.
We know how.
You're practically gynecologist at this age, by the way. The man who delivered me. I was like right on time. Okay, honey. All right, here. Okay. All right, mommy's done with this.
We're some of the middle of the school day.
I am daunted, although he doesn't. He's not going to listen. The prospect of trying to do and be for my kids what my dad has been and done for me and for my brothers and sisters is really daunting. And I think that's probably the highest compliment that I can pay to him. It makes me nervous now, but it means that I really have a lot from that. I think that David mentioned this year. Thank you, buddy.
Rachel says she loves me in spite of everything, and that's a real big statement.
I think also, for those who remember, Rachel was always a very picky eater and drove me to distraction. And I think it would be quite ironic that she's the one that would carry out all these recipes.
The floor is yours. I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I'm glad that you're all here to celebrate my birthday, but I have to be honest with you. I'm not 60. I'm 50 years old. We did this to keep me out of the Vietnam War. Plus, you must be running for president.
Does that mean you're going to be president? Only be hands.
Anyway, I must say honestly that this is, this has been an incredible kind of a 6 months for me. When 1992 came, I said, this is the year. I said, how am I going to handle this thing? And I started thinking about every week and every month and so on. And as it turned out, it's just been the most wonderful couple of days that I can ever remember. Starting with a celebration with my family, the people I work with who are here today, who are just a very, very special group of people I love dearly and who are the very, very best at what they do. With my own kids, having a chance to go out for dinner and spend some extra time with them. And then coming here and seeing so many faces, that are just so important to me, it's just been really kind of remarkable. It's it's a special pleasure for me. Everyone has, you know, the thing about their kids and so on. And for me, it's a special pleasure because irrespective of what people say, when you go through a divorce and the family is taken apart, whatever the reasons are, everybody suffers a lot from that. And kids, no matter how well adjusted they are, no matter how much you try to do and how much you try to keep the family spirit and everything, it's not easy. And for me, I've been lucky in the sense that as adults now, we've emerged into new kinds of relationship, particularly Rachel and myself, which is enjoying each other in the last year or so, the way we haven't been able to enjoy each other up until this point because of things that have gone on. So that's been extremely and wonderfully pleasurable for me. I think the part about being 60 that was such a shock was you know, it's sort of like at this point you're supposed to take inventory of where you are, where you've been, and what you've done, and sort of look at what God had wrought in your life. And when I looked at that, I got kind of nervous because it was a lot of interesting things, but there didn't seem to be much organization to it, you know. And so I thought that, you know, as I said to one of the kids, I said, we all envision our lives as being sort of a James Michener novel, you know, story like Alaska or Hawaii. It starts here and goes through this whole progression of events, and it has this wonderful ending, and there's a continuum, and it's great if you have that. And I said, I'm probably more like an anthology of O. Henry stories, you know, with a lot of little things. And when I got to accept that, I said, well, okay, so 60's not so bad, we'll start over and do something new. Anyway, I'm very, very appreciative of you folks coming here the way you have, because I know distance people have traveled and your own personal lives, your own commitments and things. And everyone here has a everyone here has a very, very special meaning to me. And thanks a lot. And let's just keep together and keep knowing and seeing and feeling and being with each other. Thank you.
That is really humorous.
Non-family. Tony.
Really humorous. To follow.
Sandra said when we asked him if he would maybe be interested in saying a toast, he said, yeah, I'd be happy to do a toast. I like toast and jellies too.
Sandra, please tell about locking you in the closet.
If it's true.
Let me say, he was a brat. But that's really humorous. I can't believe I'm speaking after Wieners. They are really like given to speech making, and they really have a God-given talent. And I really, but I can't speak for a very long time because I'm just not given to speech making. But I would like to say something eloquent. Three score and a few days ago, our famous band arrived on the scene. You didn't have four fathers. Isn't that how it is? And I just wanted to say, I'll make one statement. Dan is a humanitarian. He's like a real man. I'm really glad.
I want to say that Sumner goes back the furthest of my non-family people. It's my brother's dearest and closest friend, and the two of them tormented me.
You deserve
I used to have a whole head of hair before I met the two of them. But my Aunt Dodie, who came all the way down here from we were just talking about it a little bit ago. I mean, she goes back to the point where I'm not sure if I was toilet trained or not, but it was pretty close to it. She just reminded me she met me when I was 4 years old.
That's true. Donnie's known you longer than some.
56 years.
I apologize.
We go back. So, anyway, I'm pleased with me that she made this trip down here. It's just incredible.
The story about the closet is that Seymour and Sumner were babysitting for Danny, and decided he was such a pest. They locked him in the closet, and then walked outside. And I think
we knew he couldn't get in trouble.
A little sorry, right?
You see, I came out of the closet long before anybody. Anyway.
For extending her house another time for an important family gathering and for hospitality.
Please join us for
Thanks so much.
Happy birthday to you.
we go. Go ahead.
Ready, Bud?